Hi Year 11. So we have done the main aspects of Hitler's foreign policy. One of the things we've touched upon along the way is the fact Hitler makes pacts and alliances, and we've obviously gone into a bit of detail about the Nazi-Soviet pact, but there were a few more that we've mentioned, but I just want you to have a bit of a definite overview of what they were. They appear on that little roadmap I've showed you before, but here, this lesson today then is just looking at what were his pacts and alliances between 1933 and 1939, okay? All right, guys, just a quick reminder then with regards to the roadmap. All right, let me just take you through it. If you look, all the orange boxes on here are the pacts and alliances he made. All right, so in 1935, the Anglo-German Naval Treaty. Then he makes two alliances in 1936, this one with Italy and this one with Japan. He makes another alliance with Italy in 1939, and then obviously the famous Nazi-Soviet Pact of 1939 as well, which obviously leads into World War II. So this is what we're focusing on today in order to make sure that you have got a decent little bit of knowledge about the pacts. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. All right, so on this slide is a quite nice and easy summary of the pacts. If you want to print this out and stick this in your book, you can do. All right, but let me just briefly take you through the ones that you need to be aware of. Okay, they're the ones mentioned on the document on the roadmap. Okay. Okay guys, so just very quickly then, what you've got here is the Anglo-German Naval Agreement of 1935. Prime Minister Stanley Baldwin at the time strongly believed in Germany's right to rearm. Britain was afraid of a new arms race with Germany, so they hoped to avoid one by giving in to Germany early on, so hence the 35% size army that Germany was allowed to have. All right, it was 35% the strength, the size of the British Navy, is what I mean. So it's all about a naval change there. So that was an agreement made in 1935. In let me just see, 1936, as we know, Hitler makes the Rome-Berlin Axis, which was a pact of friendship between Italy and Germany, and that helped Hitler achieve Anschluss. So you see why he did it? Okay, he had, he was more successful at Anschluss in 1938 because of this Rome-Berlin Axis. Rome, of course, in Italy, Berlin, Germany. In going back, sorry, just to kind of reversing back. This is 1934. Okay. Germany made, and we haven't really mentioned this one, but a pretty pointless non-aggression pact with Poland. Pretty pointless because you now know that Hitler went on to attack Poland in 1939. It was a promise made by both countries that any disagreements between them would be sorted out peacefully rather than with war. Oh, how times would change. It was a clever agreement, really, on Hitler's part, as it reduced the fears of the British and French at the time. And guys, let me just remind you, that was in 1934, so that should have been the first one. And that's the second one, and that's the third one. Okay, and it was really just a bit, it was like smoke and mirrors, really, covering up the fact that Hitler did plan the complete opposite of non-aggression. All right, but it kind of made it look as if Hitler was looking for peace at that moment in time, and it was not long after he'd become Chancellor, remember. One of his next pacts was the Anti-Comintern Pact. All right, this is to do with communism, and it's basically an alliance between Germany, Japan, and Italy in order to try and keep communism at bay against communism. Again, reinforcing the Nazi versus communist, the fact that they were enemies, all right, and it really, it does highlight how much of a surprise the Nazi-Soviet Pact was then in 1939. In 1939, just very quickly, the Nazis form a pact of steel. It was formerly the Rome-Berlin Axis, all right, but they kind of levelled up with it. And it was between Germany and Italy, and it was signed in May 1939, and it saw the two nations agree on political and military changes. This was more of a military alliance, whereas it kind of levelled up from the Rome-Berlin Axis of 1936. And the final one you know a lot about was the signing of the Nazi-Soviet Pact. okay, and it removed the possibility of the USSR standing in the way of Germany's invasion of Poland. So there you have it, okay? So move on now to the next slide. And what I've shared with you in Google Classroom is a thinking quilt. All right, so what I would like you to do is obviously give colour to these headings at the top here. So give a bit of colour, different colour to each of these headings. There they all are. All right, the Anglo-Naval Treaty was the Navy with England, the agreement with England and Germany. And I want you to colour code accordingly, please. So work out which of these boxes goes with which pact and do your colour codes. And you've done a thinking quilt before. You can do this in Google. You can use the colour tools in Google Docs to do this, all right? And then you can print it out. You can put it in your books. If you want to copy it out, it's entirely up to you, but you don't have to. It can be a task that you can simply print out. Or at least save it so that it is, you know exactly where it is. All right, and each one then should give you the details. You should be able to match up the bit of knowledge like this one, the pact that was signed with Japan, I should say, yeah, November 1936. That is obviously actually the Anti-Comintern Pact. So that will go with that one. So just colour code it accordingly, guys. You've done thinking quilts before. All right. Okay, and there's the answers. All right, there's the answers to that. You can check yours, you can update yours. And finally, I would like you to go to do another deconstructed exam question. This time is based on the Anschluss because we've done all the knowledge that you need now. And I'd like you please to have a go at what is the purpose of the source question in the deconstructed exam question format. Okay, guys, make sure that is submitted. Obviously, I record the marks of that, so get that to me, please, during this lesson. Okay, guys, thank you very much, and I will speak to you soon.